Thank you very much, Cahill. I'm glad to get the opportunity to talk about this matter here again this evening. It's a terrible situation, and this war really needs to end. And I don't know how we can influence that happening, but we need to send a strong message from this Parliament here, Minister. And we're a very small country. We can't do anything physically to stop or prevent the war, but we need to send a strong signal, a strong message that we do not approve of what's happening now. And it is very well reported. We see there evening after evening little children holding out bowls to see would someone throw something into for something to eat. And it's tough. No one has a monopoly on talking about this, but it resonates very much with me to hear and see people starving to death. There's been explosions, there's been atrocities, there's bombings, there's every bad thing that you could think of happening there, Minister. And but it's the starving of people, the starving of children. And the country and the world is full of food, all it is. And how much food does every household throw out every evening or every at the end of every week? How much food is thrown into waste? And to think that there's little children out there starving. And we still talk about the famine in rural places, because we're reminded daily, Minister, and I don't know if you're aware of them or not, there's a lot of fields up on the hillsides and the slopes where the ridges still remained, where the people sat the gardens and they didn't stay alive, or there was nothing in them to dig them, and they finished up on the famine ships going to America and other places to see could they basically get something to eat. I can remember being brought up and being told by my grandparents, my granduncles, and the thing that they really worked for daily, there was no such thing as money, but was food. Even my own father worked as a 14 and a 15 and maybe a 17-year-old, going around working in mahals in different places, and there was no money, but it was basically you'd get fed into one less at the table at home, and that's what people had to work for that time to stay alive. I have been told recently, the man that told me, he's now passed on since, that there was a big strong man in the Kilgarvan parish, and he didn't have enough to eat, and that most times of the day you would meet him, he was chewing his wrist and chewing his arm, because he was half starved with the hunger. He needed a lot more to eat than he was getting. And them kind of messages resonate and never leave my mind. And it's terrible when you look there at the television and see children holding out bowls and nothing going into them. And look, we're not the fault of it. And I'm not saying the government here is the fault of it. But if we could send some message, and this Occupied Territories Bill, I don't know what notice they'll take of it. But we do need to send them a message. And Europe is very lax and has been very slow to react since the start. Von der Leyen is not decisive enough and is not acting to the extent that she could. And we're disappointed with that. I'm asking that opposition and the government work together here and to send this message together as strong as possible to the Israelis. And of course Hamas they played their part in this atrocity and started off, and are continuing to allow. When I look at it from every angle, when I look at it from the angle that because they won't release the last of the hostages, that the Israelis won't stop the war. Surely have they any feeling at all for little children that are starving? They must be blamed as well. And whatever side is right. There's no right or wrong in this war now. It has to stop. And we should be clear and decisive in saying that it needs to stop. And whatever the occupied territories bill, I don't know what's in it. I will vote for any bill relating to this to send a message of some sort to all those involved that it must stop. And we're disappointed that the USA, who have been fair back over the years, don't seem to be intervening to stop it. I'm not saying that we should say clearly that who's wrong or who's right, but we need to stop it, and it needs to be stopped for the sake of the little children that are especially starving with all their lives in front of them that they won't ever see or realise their potential. It's so sad. Look, maybe I'm taking up someone else's time, but I feel very strongly about it. Which people are starving, and that's the worst kind of death of all, is to see people starving with the hunger. We're not to blame of it. We're only a small country, but we must voice our opinion and ask them to stop.